As we continue our Bible studies, we're going to be doing lesson 28 this week. It's entitled Daniel Explains the Dream. So he's going to be explaining King Nebuchadnezzar's dream, and that's where we continue in our workbooks. So you have some vocabulary to write down, and I provided you a vocabulary link for this, but I'll just read it as I have it here in my book. It says image, a statue or picture of a person or thing. Endure, to last for a long time. Inferior, lower in quality. And kingdom, a government, country, or kingdom in control of certain lands. Okay, so I guess it should be just a government or country in control of certain lands is a kingdom. So it goes on saying Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a great image. Daniel explained that the king had seen a great image. Read Daniel's explanation, and it's in Daniel 2:32 to 34. The image was made of various materials. Draw a line from these two parts of the image that were made of the same materials. So if you are looking here, the first one is on verse 38. It says, who was the head ruler? And it was King Nebuchadnezzar. And that part of the statue was made of gold. So you could kind of make a connection line there for gold. And then the next part, it says, for what was silver, verse 39. After Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, another kingdom would rise and be inferior to his. And that was verse 39. So yes, on this silver part, that would point to after Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom went away, another kingdom would rise and be inferior to his. And the silver part relates to like the breastplate there, King Nebuchadnezzar. As you work on through this week's lesson, you'll look at Daniel 2:35, and it says, what would happen to the statue? And if you read that carefully, that verse carefully, you'll find out it would be broken to pieces and swept away by the wind. Not a trace, no trace would be left. And then as you proceed down more, another little help here, it says, what was Nebuchadnezzar's reaction to how Daniel spoke the truth? Well, as soon as he heard these things, King Nebuchadnezzar knew that Daniel had spoken the truth. What did the king do then, according to each of the following verses in Daniel 2? Well, the first verse, 46, mentions that the king fell down before Daniel and paid him great honor. He was so amazed. And then you'll look and see the other verses, what happens there. The final part of this lesson for this week is sort of a self-connection piece where you're going to start a prayer journal at home. I bet some of you have already done that before, or maybe you already have one. It says, well, in a prayer journal, you keep track of prayers you make to God, asking him to help you or someone else in some way. It is fun to keep track of your prayers and see how God answers them. Remember, sometimes God answers right away. Sometimes he has you wait for a while, and sometimes he says no. So for instance, here's an example. Maybe you were making a prayer request that grandma would feel better because she's sick. And then you waited, you prayed, and you got an answer to that prayer. Grandma is now feeling better. So perhaps this week you can kind of just keep track of things that you're praying for right now, or maybe some things you've prayed for in the past. And then finally, at the end, it says, when we get our prayers answered by God, we are asked to lift up a prayer of thanksgiving. So that would be something like, I praise you, O God, you are great and mighty, you heard my prayer. And remember that sometimes God will answer prayers in a way different than what you might have expected, but God always answers them the way that is best for you and everyone else. So good luck with finishing your lessons on the life of Daniel here this week, and I hope it will help you understand what a great prophet Daniel was, but also how we can learn from this and draw ourselves closer to God as a result of studying about Daniel. Have a good week.